Ooh. Hey guys, how are you guys doing? Trying to slide my leg in here. I built a nice obstacle course here in my my studio, so I had to make a trip around. Let's go ahead and fix this really fast. Where was that other thing? Let's go with this instead. All right, and we are live. How are you guys doing tonight? Hopefully everyone's doing amazing. I'm trying a slightly different setup here, a little bit of a modification to how I'm doing things. So some of this will definitely get better as we continue doing these painting streams. I have this issue where we're kind of making adjustments and changes as we're going. So sometimes, not like in the stream, but like each stream seems to have a little bit of a different setup. So I haven't been able to lock down one super successful stream method yet. Now tonight is going to be a lot of fun. Hey Osprey, I'm glad you could make it. Tonight is going to be really cool. We're going to be painting for the first time. I'm going to be painting for the first time one of these Hydra 2Cs. I have a Hydra here, a WarMech for the Union of Stars. It's painted up in my 11th Myriad color scheme, which is the emerald/teal with a dark gray and then a light gray accent color. Now this model in particular, this one is loaded out with a whole bunch of missiles. So the difference between the regular Hydra back there and the 2C is that you've got these two clusters of missiles here. Still has the plasma belchers, the linked plasma belchers, the heavy machine gun, and then the missile launchers as well. So it retains basically the same armament as the standard. It just swap out the laser arms for the missile arms. And it might be a little hard to see just yet. If you can sort of see, there's this construct here underneath the arms. It's basically like a big old meat cleaver that you can just judo chop enemy armored units with. So it actually has a bonus for when doing punching, because normally you can only perform a punch attack if you have a physical hand on the model, but it's got the cleaver, so you can just chop. Yeah. All right, now we got some people showing up. Hey Chris, hey Exequil, how you guys doing? I'm glad you guys could make it. Let's see, listening while cooking dinner, fancy. I just had dinner a little bit ago. I'm not to brag, I'm pretty good at making sandwiches. Okay, hot and cold. So we were reheating some barbecue chicken, and I was like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. So we got some buns. I toasted those. We made like a honey butter to put on both sides, and then banana peppers, and then cheddar cheese on top of the barbecue chicken. It's delicious. Hey, Ghost Knight, how are you doing? All right, so like I was saying, we're going to be painting up this other Hydra. I've kind of got this a little bit different setup than normal. I'm hoping that the audio sounds fine. It sounds decent in my headset, but yeah. I've got all the different paints that I need. I finally kind of locked down what shades I need. When I did the Hero Goblin 2 paint streams ago, I was mistaken. I thought I used Ghost Gray for the light gray. No, I used Ash Gray from Army Painter, so I made sure I got that right. I had to go back and fix it, which, let me see if I can reach it. You guys can be the first ones to see this up close. Let's see if I can get this to focus right. There we go. So this is the Hero Goblin. It's a standard Goblin loadout. I'm just using it in place for when I use Connor Daviro. So it's all finished up. Turned out really great. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah. Got the striping there on the legs. A little bit of striping here on the gauntlets. Then the head is a different shade, like by using the ash gray. I haven't done the full head like that yet on any of my other goblins. So I'm pretty excited with it. I'll do like an official picture and share it later at some point. Gordon Ramsay thoughts intensified. Barbecue sandwich. You're gonna get it. So what I gotta do first is I have this Hydra 2C. I have my regular Hydra that I have, my standard that I've already got painted. I'm not going to exactly copy. I'm going to use the same colors, but I'm not going to exactly copy it because I want it. What I've been doing with all of the different Union mechs for my 11th Myriad is I've been purposefully giving them their own unique flair. The tanks and infantry are the same, but then the mechs, I give them a little bit of variation so that they are unique on the battlefield. Same colors, but just different way of application. So when I do this Hydra here, I got to kind of feel out what I want to do differently than what I did before. I don't want to just mirror it and like, oh, okay, it's different, it's mirrored. I want to do a little bit different. So I got to figure that out as I go. I have no plan whatsoever of how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. Yeah. In the meantime, let's see. Let's take a look at this up close. So this is the first time I painted this, as I've mentioned, but a couple new people are hopping on. Thank you, Osprey. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with the Goblin too. Is trying to figure out what I want to do with these missiles. I don't really want to leave them emerald, but if I paint them, I got to paint them all. And I'm not really sure. My philosophy, it's probably a little bit of sacrilege when it comes to army painting. I'm not the biggest fan of painting all the time. I'm actually finding out I'm starting to enjoy it, which is scaring me because I'm like, oh, if I go overboard, it's going to be crazy. I have so much to paint, so it would be good for a long time if I got super excited. But I'm not sure what color to do for the missiles. Normally, that would look good. Yeah, we're going to do an orange for each of those missiles. Yeah, I think that'll complement. No, that'll copy Andrew's stuff. Andrew did orange last time. He's doing his own. If you guys don't know what we're doing, we're trying to paint up a company of forces to build up to streaming, hopefully next week, the heavy metal game between my 11th Myriad and his mercenary forces. So he's trying to get his stuff painted up. I finished printing the last 3 mechs that I needed for my force. I didn't have time to clean them today, so they're going to be going in the cleaning bath tomorrow morning first thing. They'll be dry later tomorrow. I might be able to cure them the rest of the way, and then I'll have a couple of days to kind of assemble them and get them primed and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of work. So I got to try to get as much done tonight as I can on this. I didn't finish the Orions yet. They're pretty close to being done, but I need to start hustling on this guy. So let's start with black first. Get that going. So it sounds like it's scratchy sometimes. It's probably also because the way that the microphone is set up is that if I move in different places, it's going to sound different. So I'm trying to be aware of that while I'm talking, and I'm trying to focus and read comments. So it's a lot of stuff, but hopefully I can do it. All right. Let's get this. I'd probably shake it a little more. All right. Whoa. You guys can't see, but that's crazy. I'm still experimenting with my wet palette, so it's reacting very funkily. I might not even use this. Nah, it's probably fine. Oh, no. No, it's not. It's going to create a problem. I need to... No. Oh, all that black paint. I don't want to waste it. 1 second. I made a mistake. I put way too much water on the wet palette. Wow, that is like perfect consistency, though. Still learning how to use this dang thing, man. Go to college for 4 years, get a bachelor's degree, wet palette. I don't know what I'm doing. This is awful. Okay, we're just gonna fold that on up. That way it doesn't leak all over my wet palette sponge. We'll just set that out of the way. Just excuse me real quick. I'm on the tail end of a cold, so I'm trying not to be all nasally and annoying in your guys' ears, sniffing like a particular person in power. Oh! Okay. So we will mix this now, and then we can begin painting. I don't always start with black first. I use the black a lot because I have, I want all the metal bits, and then what I've been doing on the Union for these particular, the 11th Myriad, I paint all the joint covers, which Union they have very prominent ones. I know as a fact that if I do actually get into the miniature game genre, I'm going to hate painting the figurines. Yeah, and that is one of the things that I wish there was a better way around. What I'm looking at doing, when I do the 11th Myriad, I'm putting extra work into these guys. Normally, I'm like, can we go as quick as possible and get done with as minimal number of colors? With that said, I'm kind of trying to stretch myself as a painter, do a little bit more, and then I'm finding that I'm actually happier with the model when it's done, but I still don't like the idea of saying, okay, by the time you're done, you're going to invest 4 hours into this model. That kind of stresses me out. So what I'm going to do as well is eventually I'd like to be able to do some streaming where the focus is nice looking, but we're hustling. We're trying to get it done quick. Not like lightning fast, but like if we spent... let's see if this will get in focus. And I took my glasses off. I could put them back on. I think I'm painting further away from my face tonight, so I can do it anyway. Normally, if I'm farsighted, so if I nearsighted. So if I get too close, my glasses start messing with my eyes. Okay, there we go. Now it's in focus. Anyway, what I was saying, we could try to do some faster painting. That is not... I could try to paint over here and see if that works. Because I know there are much better painters on YouTube out there, but I know that I prefer a little bit faster sometimes. And I would imagine that there's a number of other players who do as well. Man, what is up with... There we go. Couldn't see in there. I also am a glutton for punishment because I assemble my models before I paint them. A lot of people will do it after. It again kind of falls into that same category of like, well, I got to get it done. But Ghost Knight, I've been painting on and off for years now because I've been playing miniature games for like 20 years. And I have found that sometimes the painting is fairly rewarding. I say fairly because sometimes you're just like, isn't it done yet? But in good news for me as a painter, that looks pretty hot. I just need to be able to see in here real quick for this. I might have been able to learn how I can paint white, because painting white is like one of the most ridiculous things in the flippin' world. I might have finally figured out a way to do it that works with my style of painting. Because like whenever you hear someone paint white, they're like, yeah, you gotta do like all these extra layers. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to go quick. And I don't want it to look good when it's done. It's perfect millennial scenario. I want it quick and I want it done, but I want it to be good. There we go. If I did get any of the figures, I'd probably just put them on display. No, I mean, that's still cool. Hey, Roger, how you doing? I can imagine that painting them can be relaxing. Yeah, it can be. And that's what I was kind of getting at, is I found that it absolutely can both be relaxing, and I'm more focused on like the sense of accomplishment on the other side of it, because I'll be like, yeah, man, I did that. And it's taken a lot of practice and effort to get to where I feel happier about showing things off. It's a whole other thing when you're trying to show someone models that you're painting because you own them and you're trying to push a brand for them. Because I had someone who was he's a pretty good painter, and he commented that my images from a while ago, like the models were cool, but then the promotional images were not good. And it was because the paint jobs weren't good. And he was absolutely right. I didn't take any insult to it because I had painted all of them myself. They're still all painted by me, but I've been trying to really step it up. I purchased, as you can see, all these different colors, and it does add an effect to it. It does make it better. Yeah, Reaper miniatures, they're good quality, cheap, and they have a nice variety. Yeah, they're really good for role-playing stuff. Not that I do a whole lot of role-playing right now. Once I'm hoping, I may have to go and adjust the lights. I thought the lights made the Hydra look too bright, but I hadn't tried painting with them on yet, or on. So all I'm doing right now is just getting these coverings here. Hopefully my hat's not in the way too bad. And we're just trying to, as you can see, these vent covers here, starting to get them painted black. Do these exhaust vents here for the jumper pack. So is anyone out there working on any of their own projects right now? Whether it's miniatures or anything, because we're trying to make Monday nights a hangout so that everyone kind of knows to expect, oh, it's Monday night, White Light Media, Rick is streaming. So it'd be really cool if down the road, if we were all painting Revelation stuff together. Hints maybe? Not that every Monday we'll be painting. We're also trying to do gaming streaming too, which I'm looking forward to kicking Andrew's butt. My 11th Myriad are hungry for blood. Oh, night! Getting ready to play Master Chief Collection. I've been having fun playing that. I just think that if I were to get any figurines, I'd probably just give them my own paint jobs and put them on my shelves for display. It's not going to make anybody trigger. That's what everybody does. You don't have to paint them the way I paint them. You could go with your own colors. I go with this color. It's a particular military force within the Union. No one else has to paint them this way. They can go with whatever colors they want. That's what's really cool about miniature painting is, yeah, there's official color schemes, but like in Revelations, the militaries are so big that you could say, oh yeah, this group of guys on this one planet, they just paint all their stuff, I don't know, something brown and pink. And you're just like, that's what colors they picked. Like, okay, that's what colors they picked. It's not kind of like, I mean, even though you can, it's not like painting stormtroopers some other color from Star Wars. Like, everyone knows they're white, so if you pick hot orange, it's like, well, everyone knows. Chris finished up some Battletech stuff. Oh, because I saw, is it some of your other clan stuff you're painting? Mr. Mr. Stripes camouflage, making his stuff look good while I'm over here hand painting my stuff. No, Ghost Knight. Nobody's going to get triggered by any of that. And if they do, just tell them, man, calm down. It's just a game. Life is way too short to get stressed out about miniature colors. But no, I mean, did I paint those on the back? I did! I'm going to do it again. I'm going to use a better paintbrush. This one's a little... It's not bad, but it's a little wider than I want. Alright, so I... Glutton for punishment. I painted these spheres here. Working on a museum on Minecraft. Been working on it for a few months now, but that's mostly what I've been up to. That sounds impressive. I was never big on playing Minecraft, but I can absolutely... Where is the focus? Why is the focus down there? Focus on this here. This is what we're looking at, camera. Focus. 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 Fine. I'll just keep painting and then you'll catch up. I never was really big on Minecraft, but I could absolutely appreciate the effort it took because some people made some amazing stuff. You're like, you did that? Like, in this game? That's nuts. In a good way. Like, that's awesome. I didn't have the patience for Minecraft, really. You can blame Halo. I'm used to, like, running, gunning. Oh, I did the War Crow. Nice. That's the Masakari, right? In Battletech? No, Stormcrow's the Ryokan. Is it focused yet? It looks like it might be focused. Oh, I thought I touched something I wasn't supposed to with the brush. The other thing that's very helpful if you do get into painting Ghost Knight, you want to get a couple of good brushes. I personally, here in the U.S., I've just gone and purchased a couple of really skinny brushes from like a craft store. I find that the really expensive brushes myself, I've never bought the super premium ones, but I bought pretty decent brushes before and they just don't seem to last. So I was like, well, I'll go with the cheaper skinny brushes, thin brushes, and then if they go bad, I don't feel so bad because I didn't spend that much money on them. I don't like that mindset. I don't like being wasteful, but I don't like my stuff breaking either, especially because I don't abuse my stuff. There's a new 70-ton. Oh, is the War Crow? Oh, I think I might have seen people posting pictures of it. That's that new one. That is an awesome looking mech. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it's beautiful. Ah, black paint where it's not supposed to be. Oh well, I'll fix it later. I'm just trying to get into this little crevice right here. Let me get in there. I can see where I want to be. There we go. I think I got it. This is a little bit of the more monotonous part, but once we get through this, it's a plain fuselage with legs and arms. I think I know what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure. And yeah, that is... It's one of the newer mechs that Ironwind Metal sells, right? I noticed Ironwind's starting to pump out a couple of new things that are like, ooh, that's nice. I mean, it's only, it's about flipping time. Alright. Just trying to be like super focused because I gotta try to like not mess this up. I really don't want to come back and paint more of the emerald to fix it than I need to. Because I already know I'm gonna have to do some. There's no way around it. But I don't want to do more than I gotta. Let's get in there real quick. There we go. Cool. Yeah, that one and a bunch of paint from Ares Games and Miniatures. Yeah, that's awesome. Tarek's a pretty cool guy. We had talked about briefly doing selling Revelations models there as well. And then he was really busy and stuff kind of came up and we just never really finished that conversation. At this point, with us selling the STLs now, I don't think he'd be interested anyway. That's not a slight against him, because, I mean, we're about ready to open the doors on this experiment. Either going to be the smartest smart guy ever, at least as far as gaming goes, or I'm going to look like a big dummy. There's not really a lot of other ways this to go. But I've got all but the last. All I got left is the pommel, the big pommel tank. That's the last model that is not finalized for the for being sent out in the STLs. I'm just waiting on the modeler to get back to me. We had made some changes. All right, Ghost Knight, have a good night. See you later. We had made some changes to fix it. And with everything going crazy with the Kickstarter, I never found out if we ever finished it. So he's checking on that. And then once we know that, I can move forward with the last part I need to do. But it's going to feel really good getting this project all the way behind us because, like, obviously we got the money for it, but you always want to get the fulfillment done and make sure everybody's happy and get it all wrapped up. We've been printing tokens like crazy. I want to show you guys. I don't know how well the camera's going to work. Let's see. Is it going to focus? Is it going to focus? There we go. So right here, this is one of our new damage counters. Let me hold it a little better. Clean this brush real quick. We have only thing I've shown so far is that one picture. There we go. So this is the 3 damage token. So we've gone and we've redesigned a number of our tokens. We're using all new acrylic for all of the acrylic tokens. And we're using acrylic that now, before we were using clear, and then we had to spray paint them all. And we had no issue with the spray paint adhering. There wasn't any issue there. The problem was it was a lot of labor. So we found this acrylic that when you laser engrave it, it leaves a slightly, like a ghost white to it. Well, you can see it in person. You can see it perfectly fine. So you still get a nice acrylic, but it doesn't require almost any work like it used to. There's no extra painting. There's no extra masking. There's no extra craziness that we'd have to do. I mean, we were spending hours and hours of extra time making the old tokens. And now we'll be able to expedite this, and that'll help us tremendously to be able to get things moving, because it was just like, what would we do if we got 500 orders for tokens? Now we could actually fulfill that in a very decent amount of time. Before, it would have really thrown us off. It'd be a good problem, but you also want to be able to get things done on a timely manner if you can. So now we've kind of got our system down, worked out a couple other kinks in it, and now they're, moving a whole lot faster, which is just all around better for us. And the good thing is we're actually going to change the way we're doing the tokens as far as like the starter kits, so people will get a couple more now, because before it was just too expensive for us. I'm pretty sure we're going to increase it. I have to redo some things, some math. Oh, I'm off screen. I have to redo some math for it because the pricing will now be different because we're using different acrylic. I'm not sure if it's more expensive than before. I haven't looked back at the old numbers. But either way, at the end of the day, they're still going to look awesome. And speaking of tokens, Chris, I saw that in your, not to call you out just because you're here and there's not many other people, are you, and you may not be planning on playing the physical game in a while, because I know you were talking about having trouble finding players, but I know you weren't getting tokens right now. Are you just waiting, or you're just thinking you'll play more tabletop simulator than physical games anyway? Like, you'll paint the models, but you don't think you'll be rolling too many dice. Either way is perfectly fine with me. I mean, there's nothing I can do anyway. Not going to come to your house. You didn't buy the tokens yet. It was more just because I've been in knee deep in Kickstarter land, getting everything together, and it's a good problem. Again, I'm so glad that we got as much funding as we did, because the last time we did Kickstarter, we didn't make it. But there's no easy way to keep records on everything. You gotta. I mean, you can use a pledge manager, but then you gotta pay them, and we didn't make enough to be like, let's give somebody else some of the money. All right, this might be another tough spot, but we're gonna see if I can do it. I know I can do it. I've done it. It's just. The Hydra is such a cool machine, and it's one of my special babies, because this was the mech that I hand drew concept art for, and our modeler brought it to life. It's a little bit thicker than what my concept art was, but it's great. Not that I'm by any stretch an artist. It was just cool to be able to have something that I was involved with, more than just giving notes to somebody to draw a sketch for, that I actually did that. I'm sure it gave some different challenges to the modeler to try to it's kind of a funky mech. I've never seen anything like this before, where you've got two pilots set up. So one pilot controls basically movement and all the main weapons. Then the secondary pilot controls communication with the other forces, because it's kind of a command unit, or can be, and then also controls both of these rear arms. Now, he can fire some of the other forward guns, kind of take control of them to use the missiles, but he's more focused on big brain stuff, while the front pilot's controlling, just staying alive, evading, moving about the battlefield. But it's a really cool situation, because it's the first two-pilot mech for Revelations right now. So it's our first one. So that's, yeah. Just waiting until you guys get everything out. Just starting a new project at work, and has been traveling in a lot of meetings for the last few weeks. Not going to be in shape to get out and play for a while. No worries. Like I said, no worries. I was only asking. We will be here. My other side project that I'm trying to work on is really developing the website, and really trying to flesh things out for everybody, because I recognize the better the website can be, it'll just be better for everybody. It's not my strong suit, so I'm doing the best I can with it. But I mean, some websites better than no website, I suppose. As long as it doesn't look like flaming garbage from the 90s or something. Yeah. But that's cool, though. You're still, like, I mean, sounds like you got a fancier and fancier job every time I talk to you. All right. Making some solid progress here with the black. I am super happy. No worries, going to get stuff printed and painted in the meantime. That's awesome. I made that meme earlier. It's kind of like coming to my head, like, what if like people buy the models and then like they don't print them? Like, what do I do? Not that there's anything I can do. Just as the creator, you're just sitting there like, you're gonna print the models, right? The models that you paid for, you're gonna print them, right? Alright. Now, let's see. What else do I... Oh! I need to do the missiles. Oh! I totally forgot the arm covers. Yeah, just... goofy. Oh, no! Oh, I didn't paint those last time. Okay, I'm not gonna paint the shoulder ones. I'm not painting those ones, because I'm afraid those will get super messed up. But I will do these ones. This is a really cool QA time. If anyone has any other questions, there's no... When it comes to Revelations, right now there's not a stupid question, although someone will eventually ask one. But no, this is a cool time to hang out with the community. Get some painting in, so I get like a twofer. And hopefully we all have a good time. There we go. Okay. I gotta be so focused on these. Because I don't want to mess it up. It's not like a broken record, though. It's definitely some emerald I gotta fix there. Yeah, dang it. Any stores still have Jerome? I have a mighty need. What's weird for me is, like, the other day I went into the store, and he's talking about a Halo figure. On my other channel, I review Halo action figures. I went into Target, and I've noticed that they've been getting in Series 1 for the Spartan collection, which I did still need the white Spartan, so I was glad I was able to get the white Mark 5. Mark 7, which I haven't looked at the box too much. I just knew it was like, white Spartan, I need it. But it's been weird that they've been getting so much Series 1 in, but I've only seen like one case of Series 2, maybe one, maybe two. Two different stores had it, and that was how I got my Jerome, was out in the wild. I had to buy Emil off of GameStop. Who else is in Series? There was the Master Chief, which I did buy a Series 2 Master Chief, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a Series 2. I said it was. And then I think it's the Red Spartan. I found him in the wild also. Don't mess this up. Don't mess it up. Okay, there we go. Considering this is the first color, I'm going to end up making mistakes. I don't know why I'm even stressing about it. It's just less mistakes, less times I have to go back and fix things. Alright. I think that's pretty good. Alright, so I got those done. I need to do the missiles. And then whatever I'm going to do with the arms. Something different with the arms. Let's try to do these missile boxes. And these are going to be a little special because they're flat. All right. Here's a weird question for everybody watching. When you paint, do you put the paintbrush in your mouth? I have two friends that when they paint, they dip the brush in their mouth and they use it to basically reform the brush. Now, these are friends, but man, that is one of the nastiest things I can think of doing with my paintbrush is putting it in my mouth right after I dipped it in the paint water. But I guess, like I said, I got two friends. Like I was telling one friend, I'm like, yeah, this other guy, he does that. And they're like, oh, I do that. And I'm like, what? There's two people that do this that I know? I never knew anyone ever did that. It caught me so off guard. Painting is such an interesting hobby because so many people approach it from slightly different ways that just seem so vastly different. They're not. I mean, you know, he's still forming his brush, right? He's reforming it. And like right now, I use the Masters, which that'll probably end up getting changed here soon. Brush cleaner and preserver. And I think it works pretty good to help me clean the brushes and get them reshaped to a good place. But okay, so still got to deal with the arms. Still got to deal with those other vents in the back. Let's go ahead and do those now. I'm going to get a finer brush. Try to carefully touch those. So if you guys, how many other Star Wars fans we got listening here right now? I'll give everyone a second to realize, oh, Rick's talking to me. There we go. Mostly. Nice. Try to do these under here, I think. Maybe? No Star Wars fans. Okay. Nobody answered. I'll take that as a sign that it's boring. I'm sorry. we go. Still am not convinced what color I want to do. Oh, okay. So Roger, yeah. So have you heard recently? I guess it's not officially announced. Oh, I'm off camera. It is not officially announced from Disney, but apparently they're renaming Boba Fett's ship, which Star Wars fans know. Okay, Boba Fett's ship. It's the Fire Spray class ship, but its name is Slave One. And I guess it started with Lego. Lego has decided, I guess they were, as I understand it, Disney doesn't want to use that name. So Lego is like the first company to be like, okay, we're not using that anymore. And it's like, why? Why is that name inappropriate? And I don't think this isn't a political conversation. This is just a general conversation. I've been irritated by people in the United States. They have this awful, awful, awful habit of making everything about them. Well, we can't use the S word because, well, America's history. But you understand that slavery is a part of Star Wars. Like, it's always in a bad light. It's always shown in a bad light. But Anakin was a slave. Like, he was a slave and he was rescued. Now, technically, you could say he left one slavery for another by being a slave to the code of the Jedi, but it looked like it was a better alternative for him right there. But it's like, yeah, Roger, it's so dumb. I don't remember if that was a Robot Chicken joke or not. I stopped watching Robot Chicken a while ago because they started getting weird, weirder than where they were. But no, it's just, it's gross how, like, we can't. It's like, okay, you guys keep doing this. Like, this is why we can't have nice things. Not that we need to have that as the name of the ship, but understand, Boba Fett is a clone of Jango Fett, and like all the clones of Jango Fett were slaves. Now, originally, you can say whatever that George Lucas named it the Slave One way before the clones existed. He had the idea for 1 through 3. He just didn't have, it was called the Clone Wars. So for all we know, he already had it decided. Yeah, Boba Fett's a clone of Jango Fett or his father. Maybe he didn't even have him named yet. And it's like, man, like, we can have no creativity. As a creator, I know, like, at some point, someone's going to look at my stuff and say, why are you making this decision? Even though I'm showing it in a bad light. Like, I have multiple premises within Revelations that are negative. And they're shown to be negative because they are negative. And it is that way, and I don't understand. Like, I know at some point someone's gonna be like, "Oh, I don't see a problem with it." Well, and that's up to you if you don't see a problem with it. But to be like, well, we can't have slaves in this fictional science fiction universe because of America's history. It's like there are still slaves around the world right now. Right now, there's slaves in other countries. It's like, what are you doing? It's just more doing something to make it seem like something's been done. Exactly. It is virtue signaling. And when I was growing up, because I'm 32, and like, when I was in college and growing up in the 20s and stuff, I had heard people talk about virtue signaling and stuff. I never understood what it meant really fully until the last few years of seeing somebody make a decision, make a stand, do something, knowing it changes nothing, but it gets a little pat on the back. And that's good enough. Like, is that how we want our generation to be remembered? I know, like Roger said, it's the snowflake generation. It really is. It's really sad because we could do such awesome stuff, and instead we're just going to diddle around with, crying about fictional things when real bad stuff's happening to real people. It's frustrating because I I am a fairly large Star Wars fan. But at this point, I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't like the direction Disney's going. They have every right to go that direction. I disagree with it adamantly as a fan. But they can go that way. That's their prerogative. They own it. You want to make a all-female Star Wars show and bring in writers who've never once watched anything to do with Star Wars? Be my guest. Be my guest. And when it doesn't feel like Star Wars, you can blame the fans for not liking it because you did something goofy. But I watch it now and I pay attention to it now because from a business perspective, they're not obviously a direct competitor to what I'm doing because I'm not a competitor to Star Wars. In no way, shape, or form do I think that I am. Maybe one day, but not right now. It'd be awesome to be. That means Revelations would be like movies and all kinds of fun stuff. There's a lot of stuff to build on, so I'm down for it. I wouldn't sell it to Disney. Depends, folks out there are out there doing good work, but it's not what's shown. No, I know that's true. That's true. There are people out there working really hard, doing really great things with their time and their efforts and good causes, and then you're like, hey, Orange Man bad. Hey, whatever the reason for the day is. And I'm not picking necessarily one side over the other, the political spectrum. It's just more of we can see how we're watching the media and others turn us against each other from both sides just because it gets better ratings for them. It's not good for the country. It's not good for culture in general, because I know it's happening in Europe as well, because they don't really put up with that stuff in Asia. Asia's got a very different mindset when it comes to stuff like this. It's like, no, we don't do that here. These stupid Westerners, we put up with a lot of garbage all the time from our own people and from those without, on the outside, and we're like, yeah, bring it on. I like more garbage. It's really frustrating because it's, watching your country suffer, sometimes for good reasons, like trying to change things for an actual good cause, and then other times you see them suffer because they just want something to suffer for. And you don't want that for your country. I don't, anyway. I'd much rather see it do better. I thinned down the black paint a lot when I was just finishing that last arm missile cluster. Yeah, lots of folks are frustrated, and it's only getting, unfortunately, worse because there's nobody. I don't want to say nobody. A lot of people are just trying to stir the pot because it helps them get ratings or it helps them get a bigger fan base. They're not really trying to fix things. They're not really trying to make things better. And in the meantime, we're watching our culture and society get split into, red versus blue. And how is that going to make anything better? Like, how is that going to make my ability to sit down with someone who disagrees with me politically and just have a meal together? Like, we should be able to do that. We should be able to hang out, play games together, in this case, miniature games, and then be like, look, you believe this, I believe this, but we can still roll dice together and have a good time. We don't have to, block each other on Facebook or some other big mega extreme action, we can instead just enjoy each other. Alright, I think I have an idea of how I want to start this. We're going to start doing a little bit. I think what I'm going to do gray down the center. I think the music stopped.
Yes. Yes, I'm still watching. But I need to be able to see the comments.
It's mostly why I steer clear of Facebook and most of Reddit. Yeah, I don't even go on Reddit. I think I was a little... I don't really get the big appeal of it. It's another social media platform. It never was one that really stuck with me. Kind of like Twitter. Twitter never took off for me. And I tried. I just couldn't stand it. Found out about you guys through Everything Battletech. Yeah, that's right. I remember seeing... Yeah, because I remember... And as I was telling my wife months ago, I was like, this is one of the guys who actually knew nothing about us and found out about us through Battletech, because we've had such a hard time marketing to Battletech players, believe it or not, to the point where I've gotten so frustrated, I've just put my hands up and said, I'm not going to do it anymore. If Battletech players come over, great. I would love their company. I think their desire for mech fandom that is semi-serious, not like real world serious, but we go over some more. It's not Star Wars. We recognize it's still sci-fi, so we're still just having a good time with it. But for whatever reason, Battletech fans do not translate very well. They heavily resist. And it baffles me, because I'm kind of thinking well, I love Battletech, and I love Revelations. Obviously, I'm a little biased. But there's a lot of crossover, I would think, and no, not really. Which is very interesting to me. I grew up playing MechWarrior Dark Age, so this scratches that. Yeah, see, and I did too. And I don't know if that's in part what makes us a little more willing to give it a chance, because we're not Battletech purists. Because there's so many that are just no, it's 30-25 or I'm not playing. Are you crazy? The Clan War era is so cool. We get so many cool mechs. And the Inner Sphere picks up all that tech anyways. You can't be oh, they're OP. They are for a couple years, and then the Inner Sphere catches up. What's the big deal? It's been almost 30 years, boys. It's time to move on. And I personally, looking back, there were certain mechs in the MechWarrior Dark Age that were absolutely disgusting machines. And I don't mean that in a cool way. They were absolutely gangling, gross. But at the time, it was really my introduction to miniature gaming. I got into Battletech because of the novels, and then I got into the miniatures game because I recognized that it was part of the same universe. And I also played, actually, MechWarrior, I got into that first because of MechWarrior 3. A family member bought it for me, and she had no idea what it was. I think she got just a good deal on the computer game for MechWarrior 3, and I loved it. I played the crap out of MechWarrior 4 Vengeance also when that came out. Started my own clan on there. Experienced my first betrayal by another human. It was great, man. It was really my journey to becoming a man. I had a clan on there called the Keepers of Peace. So I kind of continued that on into Revelations. But yeah, I had my what did I call him? He was my second in command. And something happened, and I got on one day, and then it just led to this huge controversy, and he was actually trying to straight up steal my clan from me. And he tried becoming like the leader of the clan and everything. And you're like looking at it like this, like as an adult now looking back, like that's so stupid. How are you going to steal a video game clan from a bunch of other, teenagers and adults? Like how are you going to manage that? It's not real life. And I was on all the time, so it wasn't like, well, you're never there, so we're trying to keep the clan going, and you're not here, so we just decided we're going to do this. He just straight up tried to take it, and he admitted that he was trying to take it, which blew my mind because I never once suspected him of doing anything like that. So it was very different for me to have somebody so close straight up and try to steal something from you like that. I'd never experienced that before. And it's something so petty and silly, but at the same time, it's a valuable lesson, I did manage to keep the clan going. I don't think it lasted too much longer after that. I don't remember what happened. It may have just been some other game that came out that I was just drawn to more. But it's such a weird thing to have that happen. Let's see. What else do we want to paint gray? What did I do on this one so I don't copy it? I'm thinking of painting the whole thigh gray. Maybe I could paint the shin instead. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that instead. I'm just going to do this whole shin. I'm going to go ahead and take some out, and I'm going to thin it down because it's a little thick. Ah, my brush. I'd use my wet palette if it would cooperate with me. Not quite. Okay. So now we can... Where's my thinner at? Oh, it's right in front of me. Ah, too many drops. Battletech is a weird thing because the classic rules are from a time where pen and paper RPGs were in their heyday. Yeah. And it kind of going off that conversation we were having earlier on Discord, I really feel in order for Battletech to really grow and expand and live a new life, it really, 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 really needs to be revitalized and updated by completely doing, maybe not doing away with what made it Battletech, but by and large, that method just isn't going to attract new gamers. I haven't played Lancer yet, but it's just that method of pen and paper. If you're playing an RPG, that's fine. Like in a role-playing game, could still kind of continue classic BattleTech, but I think BattleTech itself should be updated to be maybe a few steps more complicated than Revelation Skirmish. So it's in between where it is now, but if you looked at it as BattleTech as being super complicated, Alpha Strike as being super simplistic, Revelation Skirmish is somewhere in between there. I would say in between Classic BattleTech and Revelation Skirmish is where an updated BattleTech should land. It feels a little grittier, a little more realistic, but at the same time, it's not so weighty on just all of this stuff to roll for. Exactly, yeah. Don't get rid. There's no reason to get rid of Classic BattleTech. There's no reason whatsoever. Label it Classic. Make that the official title for it. It's Classic. This is original. But make Gen 2 totally different. I mean, not totally different, but you know what I mean? Like vastly different and improved and more streamlined and speedier. Because the way it stands, I mean, you got to be looking at as a company. Are they going to be interested in trying to play, do things for the older generation who's not going to be I mean, I don't necessarily know what the average age for their player base is. I'm betting it's somewhere around 50. So if it's somewhere around 50 years old, do you want to keep releasing products for the 50-year-olds, or do you want to start bridging that gap to start attracting 30-year-olds? Because they're going to be around a lot longer, in theory, for playing your game anyway. So, and I mean, the people who've been playing BattleTech, they've been playing BattleTech for decades. So they're probably not going anywhere. I mean, it's kind of akin to the original Star Wars fans, and they'll even say, yeah, episode 4, episode 5, episodes, that was when Star Wars was good. I don't care about the Clone Wars show. That's for children. Severed shark head floating in. No, that's for children. That's a kid. It's on Cartoon Network. It must be for kiddies. Never mind the fact that people are losing limbs. I mean, that's kind of cool, but it's also for kids. Carrie Fisher is the only strong female character as far as I'm concerned. Said no Star Wars fan ever. Not that she wasn't, but a strong female character. But that, like Padme, we've had others. Numerous female Jedi. I mean, freaking, what's her, Anakin's mom, Shmi Skywalker. I mean, she's a strong woman. I mean, freaking gave her kid up so that he could have a better life. Like, that's tough. She wasn't a warrior. She wasn't ready to give up her kid. And here she is giving away her son so he can have a better life while she stays behind. She doesn't know she's going to stay a slave forever. I mean, like, that's a strong woman. There's a lot of women that wouldn't be able to do it. A lot of men, too, for their kids. That's tough. As a dad, I mean, I don't... That's hard to think about. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about her in that light, and that's unfortunate, because that was a heck of a sacrifice that she made for her only child. Not that it makes it any easier with your other kids being like, well, I still got one left, but still, like, it's even harder when it's your absolutely only. Like, outside of the clans who are already are really antagonists, BattleTech is a pretty modern setting. It's a universe that hates everybody equally. Yes! BattleTech has always been fairly modern in that thinking. They've just straight up been like, yeah, they're jerks. But I understand why Catalyst Game Labs has to do what they have to do a little bit in order to kind of stick with, I mean, they got to also play where the money is. So if they feel, well, if we revitalize the game, even though it really needs it, if we do it, we may lose the steady fan base we have, and then you're left with what? A bunch of uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's no doubt a very, very hard decision that I do not envy, that they have to think about for the future of their company. And they have to also operate under tops, and I'm sure there's probably some other... I'm way off screen. I'm sorry, guys. There's probably some other conversation that has to be had with Microsoft over certain things. It's not like they have total freedom to just do whatever the heck they want, at least as I understand it. They can't just say, all right, we're changing everything. Tops may be like, no. I'm pretty surprised we never had any conflict with Anakin realizing he was leading a slave army. I don't know. I feel like that was a missed opportunity from George Lucas to not include that at least somehow in Anakin's bitterness with the Jedi Council. To be like, I left slavery. I was rescued from slavery on Tatooine to become a Jedi. And here I'm a Jedi. And then we're rushed into this war that maybe he's like, I don't want to even be a part of this war. And now, in order to fight this war, I have to fight alongside other beings that are created and live and die specifically for this war that was not of their own making. And they're slaves to the Republic. Like, that is a really interesting way that the story could have gone. Even if it was just a side part. Like, maybe keep Anakin basically the same way that he is. But, I'm going to aim this a little lower because I feel like that's where I'm relaxing anyway right now as I'm painting. Let Anakin do basically all the other things he's going to do, but really allow him to really explore that as a storyline. Like, that would be awesome because it would show his maybe like path to the dark side, because he's like, everyone in power creates slavery, right? Or something like that. Like, and maybe that could even be something that Palpatine's constantly like pushing him on, like, hey, if you join me, we can save them and get them out of slavery. All the clones, they won't have to fight anymore. Like, that would have been a really cool way to tempt him too, because he really did love his clones. I mean, we get more of a sense that he loved the clones more from the Clone Wars than from the movies themselves, because the movies, just, there's so much happening. They didn't really have time to explore that. Even though it would have been really cool to have Rex or Cody. Well, I guess Cody was in the movie. To have Rex, anyway. But they kind of developed Anakin as more of a Jedi general in the Clone Wars. He wasn't really seen that way in the movies. Like, we never at least get to see anything. So as far as like when Episode 3 came out, I never had any indication that he was anybody special in that. It was all the stuff on the outside that showed that, like the 2003 cartoon and other things. Wow, that sounded weird. And there's always hindsight where, we can look back now and say, man, George Lucas, you really missed out on a lot of different things that you could have done with Star Wars. It's always easy to quarterback, what do they call that? It's always easy to judge things with hindsight. It's just, you do wish that, I don't know, maybe there was more that could have been done. But that's the cool thing about adding in all these extra stories. We do get to see things being added and explored and given new life that wouldn't have existed otherwise. But at the same time, the direction they're going with a number of the things is also not good. So, that doesn't exactly bode well. I'm glad there are people, maybe not glad, I mean, I guess I'm indifferent if people enjoy the direction Star Wars or Disney is taking Star Wars, and that's totally up to them. What's unfortunate is now I'm seeing more people trashing on like Episode 8 when it was always not a great movie. And that's not talking about Rian Johnson's ability to make a good movie. I think his PR of handling disgruntled customers and viewers and just basically saying, yeah, your opinion's trash, is not the way to go. Like, that was where a lot of frustration came from Rian Johnson, was just his way of just like blowing off the fans. And I know that there's a piece of, you're never going to make the fans always happy, but like, dang, like, you just ignore them. I had thoughts of a universe where he was the one who got Dooku's warning about the Sith and joined him because slave army and a Sith Lord controlling the Senate. That would have been cool. Obi-Wan wouldn't have lied to Luke in that case because he said that both he and Anakin fought in the Clone Wars. Yeah, there's a number of different ways that could have been handled a little better. And I mean, unfortunately, I guess what happened a lot with the sequels was that George put himself in a position where there wasn't a lot of other people involved. So I guess he wasn't always very good at, like, fleshing out good ideas all the time. Obviously, he came up with the idea of Star Wars. So he has the ability, but sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees, or likewise vice versa, because you're so just caught up in it. And I think that was probably a bit of what happened, and then we end up with stuff that's kind of like so-so, because no one else was there to kind of like guide the conversation. Like, George, like, this is a good idea, or it could be, but we've also only got so much time in the movie, so do we really want to spend it on this scene talking about sand? Do you think anyone will make fun of that? Maybe one day? Maybe like right after we release it? But at the same time, too, as someone who's now in the creator space, I don't know how I would feel to have... I mean, I guess I'd want to make sure I have I don't want a yes man. But at some point, I do want to have someone else to bounce ideas off of that cares a lot about Revelations and wants to see this universe explore properly. But at the same time, you got to be really careful, because people come in with their own ideas, with their own interpretations or their own visions, and they want to commandeer your idea because they got all these great ideas. So it's a dance where I kind of ran into it when I was a manager at Chick-fil-A, where there would be things that the owner wanted to do that I thought were bad ideas. Straight up, were terrible ideas. But he's the one signing the checks. He's the boss. So if he wants to go with something, he could take my opinion. But at the end of the day, it's his call. And I was totally at peace with that. Being like, hey, it's your business. You want me to do this and I think that's a bad idea? Okay, that's what we're going to do. And I think you have to be able to have a little bit of that where you can have a relationship with someone that can recognize the line, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, where they won't try to overstep. And maybe one day, again, God willing, Revelations will grow to the point where we will have someone to bounce ideas off of. And be kind of like that right-hand man, but not betray me like that guy did on MechWarrior 4. Scope creep and no voice of the customer kills projects. Yeah, absolutely. And the downside to Star Wars is that the fan base, like, Lucas would make weird decisions and be like, the fan base doesn't like it. It's like, well, because that idea was kind of stupid. Like Jar Jar, if you're gonna have a character like Jar Jar, and you're like, well, this movie's for kids. Like, okay, I get that, and I get that you want to do that, but I mean, you're like, Star Wars is more than that, first off. But even if it is, like, do you need to make it, like, slapstick? Like, is there not a more intelligent way to write this character in such a way that it's meaningful? Now, I love the idea, the theory, that Jar Jar was originally meant to be a Sith Lord, to be maybe Plagueis or something in disguise. That would have been absolutely awesome to find out that Palpatine is guiding Anakin towards the adulthood side of things, where like they're planning, like, okay, this is where he's going. We've already got you in the Senate, and we're getting you to be Supreme Chancellor. We're moving that piece into place, right? Of Plagueis' plan. And then here comes Anakin, and Plagueis is right there with him on this mission, kind of overseeing him, getting him first, making sure he wins the race, and then getting him onto the ship with the Jedi to bring him into getting trained with the Jedi so he can learn how to use the Force and and betray the Jedi one day. Like, that could have been such a cool idea, that you got this goofy character that no one would ever expect as being, anything, and here he is. He's Plagueis. He's the secret Sith Lord. And then Palpatine can step in and do his thing as he already was going to. And that would have been cool, I think, because then it would have just set up okay, why is Jar Jar here? Why is he so flippin' important? Why does he have to keep being involved? And you find out, oh, no, he wasn't involved. He was the one planning all of this. That could be really cool. If done right. But, nobody's kind of in a position where George is going to listen, and then just does some weird stuff. Some really, really weird stuff. You're like, okay, if that's really what you want to do, I don't think people are going to like it. But unfortunately, we have the Star Wars we have. There's absolutely no way of changing that. It's just a shame that 7, 8, and 9 are just fan fiction. That's just a shame. It's a real shame. So far, I think this is turning out pretty good. We got some gray here right down the torso. We got 2 gray shoulder pads. We got this plasma belcher here with some emerald striping, but otherwise it's gray, and then the gray joint there for the belcher arm. I might be able to do a little bit more accent colors, but I think we're kind of getting to a place where I'm pretty happy and we can maybe switch colors. Oop, bumping everything. The one good thing is that now, I can make Revelations be not necessarily the Star Wars that I never got, but sort of that idea of well, I can do what I believe will be the best thing going forward, and hopefully I'm not a buffoon and super wrong. I don't really know if I want to do anything else with the gray here. I think I might leave it for now. I feel like something needs to be done on this arm, though. I could do that box. I didn't do anything like that on the other one, so let's do the box. There we go. Give us a little bit of a different color here on this arm. I need to move my fan. I got a fan under my desk here. Pretty sure it's hitting the mic. I think I can hear wind blowing. And it's not me breathing. I was holding my breath on purpose. Nope, I think it's still... There we go. Now it absolutely won't because I aimed it different. So, Chris, do you have any other paint streamers that you watch? Do you watch Thunderhead or Mike Steiner or any of the other more proficient Battletech names that also stream painting? Did I miss a spot? No, I guess not. No, it was definitely my fan. I realized partway through it's blowing on it. I need to fix that, man. Did I do that on this foot? I did. I mean, if it copies a little bit, it's whatever. Who cares? It's my model. I'm going to paint it how I want to paint it. You do Thunderhead and Walter's Workshop. Okay, I haven't seen Walter's Workshop yet. So, other than a smaller viewer base, and I know Thunderhead's got like an amazing setup, is there anything you can think of that would help, that maybe that I could do to help make this more... I'm trying to make it as interesting as I can. I mean, watching somebody else paint is only as... It's more, I'm trying to treat it more as like, it's a hangout thing. Like we're talking, we're doing stuff like that aspect, rather than being like caught up in, I don't know what I'm saying. Just, what I mean? Just, I don't want people to be bored or not come out and watch because they're like, it's going to be freaking lame. I also know I'm probably not as cool as Thunderhead. He's a pretty cool dude. He's got a shaved head. He's got more facial hair kind of than me. And he's got a much sultrier, saucier voice. But he's also been doing it for a little bit, or a year, or year plus, which is crazy when you think about it. He's only been streaming for like a year, and he's as big as he is. But I'm also trying YouTube instead of Twitch because I find that YouTube has a better potential than Twitch does, for me anyway. We'll see if that pans out and is a intelligent idea, but I feel like it is. I don't know how well painting streams do. How well painting streams do overall. Because like when I look on Twitch, there's not a whole lot of other people doing it, for one. And when they are, there's a lot of them that are so boring. They're not... It's not even like that they're not themselves entertaining. Because again, you're watching somebody paint. So there is an aspect of, if you want to learn how to paint and you're like a complete novice, that's cool. But for more experienced painters watching me, they're not going to learn anything new. They might learn what not to do. But yeah, I know that Thunderhead does the segment where he has everyone kind of discuss what they're working on, and I'd love to do that, something similar, not to copy his idea, just because it's cool, because that's part of like the hangout. Like, this is what I'm working on. Now we're going to do a portion of things where we're going to look at what you guys are working on. I think that could be a lot of fun. The potential downside is that if I'm the only one and nobody's working on anything, then then it's like, that's cool. I just did that segment for me. Yeah, that's fun. I guess that would be my concern. Hey, Roger's alive. I'm glad you're not dead. Then I wouldn't have you to talk to. I want to do something else. The legs don't feel gray enough to me. But I also, at the same time, I don't really have to do too much. I've already got the one whole shin gray. Yeah, let's stop there for the moment. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do some gray dry brushing, because I've still got this color out, so I don't want to waste it. So let's do that now. Dry brush. There you are. No, I know it takes time. I know I'm very impatient. I know part of the thing that helps everything grow is consistency, and you keep releasing content. That's why we're trying to also change things up and have the paintings. No, sorry, the painting stream. I'm doing that right now, but the gaming streams. And trying to make it more of like, all right, now we're building towards an event by having the heavy metal coming up. That game's going to be a lot of fun. And it is the first time we've ever streamed heavy metal. So that'll also be cool. But I try not to get too impatient. Just trying to enjoy the process, but I am human. I've just been so excited that we've added a few new people on Discord, and we're getting ready to send out the Kickstarter file, so that'll be a whole big thing. Working slowly with Thunderhead and his Discord to play Jackbox on Saturday nights as a community thing. Yeah, that could be cool. I've been trying to grow my my YouTube community, my Halo one, as well, just because it gives me... I was trying to do that more for... One, it's fun, but two is maybe something that could one day help Revelations as well. A couple other reasons for myself. But I'd be open to doing something. I know on one hand, I don't have the time available currently to do streaming multiple nights a week for Revelations. I don't even know if there would be people who would be interested in that. Because I'd probably genuinely think about it. If there were people that were asking for it, I would probably give it an actual serious consideration. Not to just make people happy or anything, but just more of if there's interest, it's something worth considering, But I'm also trying not to be really pushy about Revelations, because it's so easy for me to just get caught up in oh man, it's so cool. Why don't you like it? It's so cool. Just give it a chance. And instead be more of the mindset of yo, you're missing out if you don't check it out. Which is more of what I've been trying to go with now. Just waiting for someone to be like, what's this? And I'll be like, you don't know Revelations? Are you living under a rock? That'd be a pretty funny commercial. Why, yes, I am. I live under that boulder. Just Patrick Star. Hey. All right. One last thing to touch with the gray. Speaking of gray, I don't know if I'm getting any gray hairs. I had a great-grandfather. I never met him. He passed away before I was born. Who I had heard had white hair, when he was 30 or something. Something like that, where he was real young and he had just white hair. And he wasn't, I never got the impression he was blonde. His hair just went white. And I was like, man, that would be so cool to just have white hair. I don't know why I always thought that was really cool. And I feel like I'm starting to notice a couple of my chin hair that are starting to change color, and I'm starting to ask my wife, is that a gray hair? Is that a gray hair? I'm not really worried about having gray hair because I know how old I am. I don't really measure it as hey, he's an old man. Because some people just get gray hair early. It's whatever. I feel pretty good for being in my 30s, especially because I hear people being as soon as you turn 30, your back is just done. You're just an old fogey. I'm like, no, not really. I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Who you calling Pinhead? Alright, so we got the dry brush done on the gray stuff. Done. Now we can move on to the ash gray. Shake it up, SpongeBob. Your girlfriend's kicking your butt in chess. You know what that means? You need to learn how to play chess. I had nowhere to go with that. I love playing chess. Chess is a great game. It's my first miniature game.
What?
Yeah, it's a miniature game. It's got little figures in a game.
Yeah.
On a personal level, I've been really getting back into watching Gundam. I've been watching Mobile Suit Gundam for the first time, like all the way through. And I looked up yesterday the different series for, like the chronological of the timeline for Universal Century. And there was some shows I've never seen before, so that'll be cool if I ever get around to watching those. Okay, I don't want to copy what I did last time, but I want to do my own thing. So let's see. All right, I got an idea. We're gonna paint. I'm really excited to be able to paint one of these 2Cs because I haven't painted one yet, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream. So I'll finally be able to check off the box to be like, have you painted a Hydra 2C for the product picture? Yes, I has. I has done it. And I'm gonna post it! And everyone's gonna admire my work. Rick, you're such a good painter. How do you learn this? Teach me. Well, I would teach you, ma'am, but I ain't got any fingers to teach you how to paint. What? That doesn't make sense. Nope. Sometimes you say things before you're thinking. I know one of the things that makes things weird for doing this painting stream as well, compared to what other painters deal with, is the fact that we're painting, Revelations pretty much exclusively. So, if you're like, well, what the heck is a Revelations? Is that like the book in the Bible? No! Revelation, the book of Revelation, doesn't have an S. It's very different. Come on now. No, I'm trying to get the light gray off of there. No, I touched it. I messed it up. Fixed it. Okay, good. I like the bit in Mobile Suit Gundam, the origin, where Char's Zaku's are red because he runs them without the limiters on and burns them out quick enough that they stopped painting them and left them in the primer. I tried watching Origin, and I had trouble getting into it. It felt like sometimes it was really cool. I think I know what the problem was. I don't like CGI, that cartoony CGI. I don't like it. The only time I think it was ever any good was like in Zoids. Other than that, I've always just like not really been interested. So Origin isn't hand-drawn. So at least not the mobile suits. So it doesn't feel right. If that makes sense. So I like struggled to kind of like pay attention. You know, that's really lame, but like you look at Thunderbolt, like Thunderbolt is absolutely nuts, but it's also crazy cool what they did with it. But the idea that Char basically just doesn't use the limiters and does enough damage with his Zaku's to blow up a bunch of stuff to be like, yo, I don't even need a fancy Zaku. Just give it to me and just don't crank it down. Just let it be. And he's just blowing stuff up. And they're like, yeah, we like this. Can you do more of this for us? Why, yes, I can. Stranger with the voice that's weird. Give me more Zaku, I do more boom boom. Don't do boom boom. That's gross. And now that I'm watching it all the way through, Mobile Suit Gundam anyway, some of the other things make more sense. And it's like, well, no duh, because you're watching it now. But that, like, I did not like Unicorn either. I felt I don't like the new types. That's my problem. I don't like new types. New types are OP and not cool. That's why I love 0083. There's no new types. It's just two good pilots just blasting each other. In combat, they're fighting. But all right, let's do something cool here. Maybe I can do zigzags. Let's try that out. This is interesting. This wasn't what I was going to start with, but let's try it. See how it feels. Interesting. Not sure if I hate this or not yet. Doing like freehand like this is just sometimes so weird. You don't really know what to do with it. You just kind of just do it. I don't know if I like that or not. I haven't seen Narrative yet. I just finally learned about it. I didn't even know it was a thing. But now I'm nervous of it. It's not just because of what you're saying, just in general, just because I don't know if it's really for me. And I don't like the new type idea. The entire concept of them just drives me nuts. It's humans that have evolved. They can sense each other's feelings. That's what you want to go with? Humanity meshing together in a psychic plane. Explain to me how the essence of humanity continues after death. If you're not going to explore the spiritual aspect of it, how are they existing? Well, there's an afterlife, I guess. Maybe, but we never once mention it at all. But they're still alive after they die. What? If you want to make a spiritual component to it, I'm fine with you doing that, and I'm fine discussing that. But don't Don't just like randomly insert like Lala just floating around in space like in Char's counterattack at the end. Absolute garbage ending. Garbage ending. It is one of those things where you're like, guy is writing, he's like, yeah, and then Umro, he's gonna get up on that big old rock, and he's gonna push it. And then all these other mobile suits, they're gonna come too, and they're gonna push, but they're not strong enough because Amuro can do it because he's got magic or something. I don't know. And then it's over. Do we get to see what happened? No. You'll never know what happened to Amuro or Char. Are you sure that's how you want to end it? Absolutely. I have no regrets. Okay. It's kind of freaky. Narrative really only matters if you really were into Zeta Gundam. See, I haven't seen Zeta yet. That's one of the ones I gotta go watch. Because I've never seen it. Alright. So you can tell me, in all honesty, if you can see that. Can you see that? Let me see if this helps. There we go. You see like this zigzag pattern I'm doing, Chris? Does this look crappy? Did I just repaint the leg? This is weird. I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like it. I need validation. I'm looking at it like it's garbage. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to the other side. It's one of the worst parts of painting when you're just like, yeah, this is looking really good. Let me experiment with something now. Oh, I think I messed it up. I don't know if it's good now. I think it could work. Oh no. That's a nice way of saying it looks like trash. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go up the rest of the way here. I don't care if it clips that other armor panel. We're going to go all the way up. I hate this. This looks terrible. Ugh. Experimented. I tried something and I failed. Trash. Absolute filth. What I should have just done was what I was thinking of doing, which is just random stripes on the arms. Like when I do stripey camo, I wash over to mute the edges of the stripes. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do a wash. This is always the hardest part for me, is in this phase of the model where there's a lot of potential, but you're like not really sure of where you're gonna take some of it. So you're just trying some stuff out and you find out you're not happy. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal. You know, it's going to be on something that's on a miniature that most people aren't going to see up close ever. So, like, does it matter? Yes. It's the end of the world. How am I going to do this? I hate that stripe. I'm going to leave it, though. I need to do a stripe under here somewhere. Right here. I'm going to do it right here. Right here, dang it. There we go. No! It's terrible. Fix it. Yeah. It's fixed. It's a stripey arm. Can you see my stripes? The stripes. They're there. They are there. Stripey stripes. Stripey stripes. Cool. I've gotten way too much of this light gray out. I don't need anywhere near this much. Well, thank you, Osprey. I appreciate that. I'm really doubting myself, thinking it looks like crap. But this is always the part where I'm doubting like everything, and then by the time I get to the end, I'm like, yeah, no, it doesn't look that bad. But right now, I'm just in my head screaming, it's awful! How could you paint something so disgusting? You bought all these paints and you never learned. You never gained talent. It's pretty mean. I'm going to do this right here. This is the idea I had, and I think it's going to look beast when it's done. I just need to do it right. The good thing is, if it's really awful and I really don't like something, I can repaint it. I have all the colors. But I don't want to do that. I want it to be done the first time. I've also had paint jobs that after a while I've ended up liking. So I also recognize to not get too caught up on myself in the beginning. It's pretty cool. Let's do some striping on this little arm joint. I haven't done that before. There we go. Right here. Hey, it's a myriad of options. That is a fantastic pun. But yes, I know. I add the stress onto myself of trying to treat everything like it's going to be a promo kind of deal. So at the same time, I'm also stressing myself out additionally. Because it's like, this is gonna be the image that people are gonna see when they look at this mech on the website. So like, you don't want it to be a bad image, do you? It's like, no, of course not. Well, repaint it. And I don't even think it actually looks bad. It's more just giving myself a hard time as well. That's definitely crap. I got to see if I can take that off now. Yeah, I can. It's still... Just wash that off, because that just didn't even look good, and I know I was going to be unhappy with it. Let that dry there for a second before I come back to it. I guess that's the only spot left I wanted to do. Might as well do it now. There we go. Nice. And then we'll do the red eyes still. We'll dry brushing on some of the weapons. We'll get the yellow done there on the missiles. I mean, I think it's coming along. I am going to repaint this here, though. I do not like it. I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's just do some different striping here on the dark gray. I might just leave. There we go. I've gotten a chance to play with this model on a couple of occasions, and its missiles, man, it does some work. It's a very high damage model. The Hydra was designed for the Union to be an aggressive unit, and it definitely is. This is the Hydra, no matter which variant you're taking, because we have the Hydra B, which is the ballistic version, which I don't have a model to show yet for that, and then we also have the Hydra 2C, and the both the standard and the Hydra 2C are nasty. They really are. They can all do lots of damage. They can both swing the tide of a fight. And I know that's what Andrew is focusing on, but the good thing is in our game, I'm going to have 2 Hydras and 2 Trolls. One regular Troll, one Tad 2, which is the one with the one shield and then the plasma cannon arm. But you won 4-6. Nice. Very nice. Let's see. Let's do these here. But when we do that heavy metal event, we've already decided, we've discussed that it's not going to be an event to like teach people about the game. We're going to totally focus on, we'll answer questions as they come. And if someone asks us about how does something work in the engine, we might spend a few minutes to talk about it. But I mean, our focus is on the game and on winning. Like we're going to go all out. We're going to try to win against each other. It'll be a very exciting game because Andrew's played Revelation Skirmish a lot, so he understands a lot of the concepts of force building, and He has his preferences, of course, for which units he enjoys taking, but still. Tinkering away in the unit builder, trying to figure out how to make a paladin-sized kind of aliens power loader with a big gun or rocket pod and some Merc Haven unit. The thing that would be funny is with the Ethereal, they're so different than Haven. And I could see Haven being like, hey, we got a paladin. We kind of stole it or found it. I don't know. Whatever. So we don't got anybody who can operate it. So like we made it like a power lifter. And then we strapped a bazooka to it. and Haven just being like, yeah, no, like, that's cool. Ethereal would be absolutely mortified to find a paladin armor has been desecrated like that. Because for them, the paladins are really cool because so basically Ethereal is a monarchy. Haven is as well, but Haven basically is a clan culture where the clans are basically big political parties, and then they have a king who rules, who's basically kind of like a commander-in-chief kind of thing, but they're in the position a lot longer. They don't have to be re-elected like a president. With Ethereal, they're a monarchy as well, but they're run much more in resemblance to the United Kingdom or Great Britain, maybe like France as having like kings and stuff, and they're very honorable people, at least like not all of them, but the paladins are like in their own class. So in order for a paladin, the thing that they want, a paladin, to be a paladin, you already have to be a great warrior. You essentially are what we would call a knight, and you only get into that position because you are royalty. Or like, you're the descendant, like you're going to be like, you're like 57th in line to be the king. You're not going to be the king. So you're royalty. So you're from certain bloodlines are allowed to be paladins, or you can be kind of nominated into the position, or kind of like you have a sponsor. But the Templars already have to be accomplished warriors. They have to be from a particular bloodline to be able to even be into the paladin program. And then what they're trying to do is they're trying to become Templar pilots. So in order to become a Templar pilot, you have to first be a paladin. And the only way to become a Templar pilot, or at least what we're saying right now is the only way, there may end up being like one or two other ways. The fundamental, the easiest, the most direct way to become a Templar pilot is you have to down a WarMech with your paladin sword. Now that doesn't mean that like for example, you have a bunch of Ethereal forces all trying to take down a Hydra, 2C here, for example. The other forces may shoot it and may wound it, but the finishing blow has to come from a Templar. Or not from a Templar, from a Paladin, in order for that Paladin to become a Templar pilot. So they're their own subgroup within Ethereal, because we're working on right now, Carl Strieger is designing a Crusader, which is a different type of mech than the Templar. It's going to be more of like their standard assault mech, and I don't use that verbiage to be like Battletech, but in Revelations, a assault mech we base things on role rather than on weight class. So assault is like your frontline mech, the mech that's going to see the most action. It's going to be on the frontline missions. It's going to be guarding the most important objects or people. It's the big. It doesn't necessarily have to be a big mech. It's a mech designed for a lot more combat. It's not designed for a support role or a brawler. It's meant to be your all-arounders kind of thing. So the Crusader is going to be an all-arounder. It's going to be one of their frontline mechs, and maybe a second one later that's a little bit lighter class. This one's going to be pretty bulky. So it complements the Templar well, because the Templar is it's the hero mech. It's going to be the mechs that are running around with melee weapons and rifles and stuff, but they're meant to be they're trying to get those glory kills by doing the cool melee attacks and stuff, even as a mech pilot. But the Crusaders are doing you got the the royal blood boys running around being crazy, doing stuff to try to one up each other. But then you got like, okay, we have to actually take over this planet. We have to actually defend this planet. We have to actually destroy the target, kind of thing. Like, they're more level-headed. They're going to be like your standard soldiers. So it's just it'll be a really cool thing to explore the right word being the dichotomy, the duality of the average person pilot who moves up from being a serf to the paladin pilots or the Templar pilots who have a vastly different upbringing, are no less skilled, and sometimes they're just crazy skilled, but they're just different. They're just a different type of lack of a better word, breed of pilot. And they have to do crazy stunts in order to prove themselves, basically. Because, you're a paladin power armor is very strong. It is. It's a very strong armor. But it's still kind of crazy to be running around trying to fight mechs with a power armor. It still is crazy. Like, you're not less crazy for doing it in a power armor. Because that mech could still step on you. Even a Sierra that stomps on a paladin is going to crush it. There's just the power of these massive machines compared to the paladins, in comparison, itty bitty body. I ain't no WarMech jock, but I'm a forklift certified. Yeah. Be a hilarious conversation. So, you think you are good enough to be a mech pilot, no? Nope, don't even pretend to be. But I can move boxes. I can move that box right up over here. I can move that box right up over there. Wherever you need me to move that box, I can move it. Huh. You are a strange man. Not that Templar pilots talk like that, but it would just be a really weird conversation between the two. Yes, the across the verse doing F. The only reason I've kind of paused working on the planet F was I wanted to make sure that I had some artwork for it, a little bit newer artwork, something fresher for it kind of deal. So I want to do it. It'll be a really cool way to explore their homeworld, but I want to at the same time make sure I have artwork to do it. I've just been so burnt out with some things. I haven't prioritized artwork like I need to. I only got so much time in the day, and I know you guys all get that. Just I'm realizing now that we've had our third child, like how much time I really don't have. And it's not even like I'm waking up all the time in the middle of the night or anything. Like, my wife takes care of a lot of things. It's just I'm helping her with the other two kids, which I don't mind doing. It's just more time and more effort and more brain power to focus on everything else. Like, somebody probably took a power loader and built themselves a WarMech. Yeah. It would definitely be a Haven or Five Skulls thing. The other thing I was thinking about doing was writing a book about Kaladar. And Kaladar is a planet out in Orca that is it's an independent planet, even though it's part of Orca. It's an independent world, but it's basically a mercenary planet. So a lot of the mercenaries go to Kaladar to get jobs or to kind of be like their base of operations. So it's kind of like their neutral ground. Like, the mercenaries aren't allowed to attack each other there. It's kind of like whatever you get paid to do out on other planets, on other jobs, whatever. But when you're here, you're civil. Kind of like the idea, I guess, of the and this is all still working idea. Some of this could change, but it's kind of like the Continental, the idea like on in John Wick, where you had the hotel you could go to, and like when you're on that hotel, none of the hitmen can fight each other. Like, this is neutral ground. We're all going to play nice here, right? But kind of like a planet. And it's not like the best planet out there ever. That's why it's an independent world. Like, nobody really wants it. But it's able to still be a base of operations for all these mercenaries. And not all mercenaries use it, but I mean, there are a lot that do. There are some mercenaries who are a little snobbish. They don't do all the things. They don't play so well with others. All right. Or like Solaris 7 or the Bounty Hunters Guild in Star Wars. It's kind of like Solaris 7 in that they have that kind of idea of a semi-neutral planet. There won't be as much. I mean, there'll be some influence from other nations that are there. But I think I want to design it in such a way where it kind of really leans into when you're here, you don't fight. You're not killing each other. You're not doing nothing other than you just do it, whatever the job is or something. I feel really bad wasting all this paint. I just got way too much out. I don't need it. I don't really want to do anything crazy with it necessarily. Although, nah. I could do that. Let's try that out. You picture Casablanca. I mean, if that works for you, then yeah, sure. Ooh, that could be cool. Maybe, maybe not. There's a lot of experimenting when it comes to this, where you're just like, I don't know if this will be any good. Let's see. No, it's not. It's way too big. I messed that up. Like with different troops and folks walking around. Yeah, no, I mean that would be cool. And that's kind of the idea is that you'll have because there's lots of people in Revelations that don't necessarily work for the government or any of the governments. They just want private contracts. Just this planet's having problems with space pirates. Like, let's go over there and we can help them out. I just keep messing this up. We can fight space pirates, kind of deal. So it can give players a reason for like, okay, why? And I've started to work on this official. Thank you. I like the teal too. Start working on this like official list of mercenaries, and there's obviously room that players can create their own mercenary organizations, because there would be so many. But where there will be some official mercenary forces that are legitimately just a company. They're just a company of forces, and that way players will have some idea of like, okay, what is a company of mercenaries look like? Like, what would they do? What kind of jobs would they do? Because they're so small. Well, there's lots of jobs, because there's a lot of like private security jobs, not maybe always the glamorous stuff, but you're not going to be you're not going to run into a scenario where one company of mercenaries is going to somehow defend a planet from the core republic. It's not happening. When the republic's coming to town, they're bringing millions of soldiers, thousands of mechs and tanks and fighter craft, and that's not counting all the millions of non-combatants that are going to be required, the multiple war carriers that are going to be up in space just dropping troops and supplies and being a base of operations in space as they coordinate things on the surface. I mean, it's a bananas event. It's not there won't be any of those stories like you might run into in Battletech where you're like, yeah, those 12 mech pilots managed to save the day. They defeated the big bad government. It's like, no, if they were there, the big bad government just, yeah, you're being liberated. Please do not resist. It's a lot like that. The Republic calls it reunification. So they're going to be launching, it's not a surprise because you saw the trailer, they're launching the next reunification war, and they're genuinely believing that they're pacifying these planets to rejoin the Republic. So for them, it kind of is, you're being liberated, please do not resist. It's straight up, it's kind of like that. You were being oppressed, we are here to save you. Put down your weapons, join the Republic. It's not really that robotic, but yeah. That idea. Do not resist. We're here to save you. If you're here to save me, why are you here with guns? To fight me. Just in case you resist. What? I might resist because you got all those guns. I think at this point I'm going to keep touching stuff and I'm going to mess it up. So I'm not going to touch it. We're going to move on to yellow while I think. All right. It's like every time I open this yellow, it's always like, this is the first time you have opened me. No, it's not. No, this is the Star League Defense Force coming to reunify the periphery with fancy tech, but in this case, a lot of these worlds were originally Republic worlds. Well, actually, all of the planets, so far in Revelations, the idea has remained that all of the worlds were once Republic worlds. That basically they stopped colonizing new worlds, which is for essentially 400 cycles. For 400 years, they have not colonized a new planet. And in a way, it's kind of like, well, why wouldn't they? Well, it takes a lot of funding. It takes a lot of resources. It takes a lot to kind of expand onto a new world and colonize it. And it's also a bit of, well, you had these planets that finally rose up against the Republic because it was kind of a thing that was a long time coming. And now that they've got their freedom, they've some of them are still kind of establishing themselves. Even though it's been 400 years for some of them, they're still dealing with resources problems. They're dealing with infighting. They're dealing with just holding their ground against the propaganda of the Republic that's always out there trying to re-entice their people to join. So or there's the fear of, well, they're going to come and forcefully take it. For those that really value their freedom, they're resisting that. Their independence, and it's a... we have a planet at home. We don't need new planets. We have a planet. But Mom, our planet's broken. The collector, he broke our planet. Well, you shouldn't have let the collector... get so much ding-dang power. You should have known that the machines would one day rise up. But how was I to know they were going to take all my stuff? Hey, you should have known better. There we go. Now you can see the missiles. Choo, choo, choo. Let's start doing some red. We're going to be using Scorn Red. Scorny Red? I'm going to go Scorn Red from P3. All right. Now don't mess this up. Focus. Focus. Join the Cold Republic. We have shadowy, extra-dimensional buddies and economic recession. What was that about the extra-dimensional buddies? No, nothing. We have candy. Many candy. Join us.
What if I say no?
You might die.
What?
No, nothing. Join us. It's perfectly fine if you don't join us, but I'm just saying things may happen. Maybe. Who can say?
You can say.
No, I can't. You should join the Republic anyway, just in case. It's just better for you, I think. This is all around better. You know what? That's too much. Too much. We have 5 candy, yes? Yes, we have 5 candy at home. But Mom, I want 5 candy now.
We have 5 gum at home.
There we go. I think it's coming along there, Skippy. We need to get some silver. Dry brush it. Shake it. You know what? I'm kind of considering just leaving the missiles black. What do you think? The arm missiles here. I'm just thinking of leaving those black. I'll do silver here on the cleaver. Plasma belcher will be silver. Heavy machine gun will be silver. The jets. We'll just see what that looks like first, I guess. But I'm kind of thinking of just doing a light dry brush of the gray just to make the missiles kind of pop a little bit better. Of the iron hole gray. And kind of just calling that a deal. Because, I don't know, I just kind of have... I haven't done black for missiles yet. Oh, no, you know what? I take that back. When I do the spades, I do their missiles like that. Just a very light. Try. That's not even black yet. I'm going to have to come back and fix that. Yeah, this is looking real good. Yeah, I'm liking that. Oh, my leg. I do need to do a touch of black, though, because I didn't get the cleaver just finished. You know what? I could probably just touch the brush on this. Yeah, that's plenty. There we go. All right, back to the dry brushing. So Chris, and actually everybody else who might be watching, even if you're watching the replay, I'm curious, what is your favorite thing about Revelations? And it can be as simple or as detailed as you want. I'm just curious because there's a lot of sci-fi universe out there. There's Battletech for one. A lot of the mech fans have been exposed to Battletech in one way or another. But just curious, it may not even be the mechs. It could be the universe, the setting, the fact it's not Battletech. I'm always interested to hear why someone was willing to give Revelations a chance when there's so many other, universes out there to be a part of. Although I'll tell you, if I had an opportunity, because as a kid, Star Wars was already well and going by the time I was a kid. So to see something grow from the beginning basically is probably pretty cool. I mean, it's cool being on my side, but all right, come on. Dry brush correctly. Oh, suffer my wrath. They stand out enough. They don't need to be like gunmetal or boiler black. So now we're just going to do a light dry brushing on the missile arms. Focus on combined arm, novels, and the 3D printing aspect. Okay. Yeah, I really think 3D printing is the future. I know I've talked about it ad nauseum, but I really do think it's the way to go. I'm very nervous of it, no lie, but being able to print your own models at home has an aspect for miniature gaming that's never been done. And now that the technology is to where it's affordable, it's totally different. I've looked at Heavy Gear, and DreamPod 9 is a good company, but their system is pretty daunting. I've heard a decent amount about Heavy Gear. I've never looked into it myself, so I haven't played it. But I know some people really like it. I'm not a huge fan myself of the designs. I'm not knocking them by any stretch. They're just not for me. And I know I said I was going to do a light dry brush, but I have failed to do the light dry brush. It is now a heavy dry brush. But you know what? I can see all of the missiles. So that actually looks pretty freaking cool. You can even see them over there without all the goodness of my camera. I respect their approach and wish them well, but I don't think it's for me. Yeah, and I am all for more companies to do mechs. I actually really want to. I'm going to start opening up things to allow people or other companies, especially smaller creators, that they can hire us to do their production for them. If they already have like the designs, they just don't want to spend the money or the time to do the 3D printing part of it. I'm looking at offering that as a service to kind of increase stuff for us as well. I think he's ready to get a wash. Yeah, let's do it. I'm a big lore and story guy, so seeing something just starting out is cool. Yeah, no, I think that's cool. I know I'm biased, but still, like if I could have been part of BattleTech at the very beginning, I don't know. Maybe I would be stuck on being a grognard too, or if I saw Star Wars from the beginning, I would hope that I would continue to grow as a fan and want to see the other things that they're going to do. But at the same time too, it's like, yeah, but I was there in the beginning, kind of deal. All right, let's do this wash. Ew, what is that? He pulled something out of the wash, like, what the heck? It's probably just from the lid. The lid sometimes crusts up a little bit. Yeah, and to your comment about being a big lore and story guy, I'm trying to... I guess I've been so nervous that... I didn't want to get into some of the nitty-gritty stuff of the universe, because I'm like, first you got to have customers. Like, if you don't have people reading the books, like, how are you going to have anybody care about, I don't know, pick some random fact? And it's like, well, you need to keep writing books. You need to keep doing this. You need to keep doing that. Otherwise, no one's going to care. And now we're running into people in the Discord like you, that are actually interested in some of the grittier aspects of, like, okay, well, how do they, something even as simple as, like, how do they do their recruiting? Is it through a draft? Is it through forced, like, kind of like a draft where it's forced, or is it more volunteer? And I'm like, no, I some of these, I haven't even thought of these questions myself, because a story didn't go there. And it's interesting seeing, like, where some people want to see detail added to. And I want to kind of flesh that out some more, because maybe I have, like, a really good general idea, but I wasn't, like, really committed to maybe put it on paper. And now I'm kind of like, all right, well, how do we release this? I don't want to make the website necessarily so big where it becomes too daunting, but I also don't know if I, like, put it into a book format, like some sort of lore book. I'm like, is anyone going to really want to pay for that? It wouldn't be like common questions. It would have to be something like, okay, this is a book about the Republic. This is a book about, some sort of source book kind of thing. It's like, that's a lot of time and effort to put into that. And if, like, people really I want to write them. I guess I've just been hesitant because I've been thinking, like, okay, when you look at things as a business owner, you're like, all right, I need to do things that are going to pay for themselves, at least, right? So we invest in a new model. That's great, because now we have that model to sell and paint and promote and all these other things. But it's like the Across the Verse series is so fun to write for me, because it's easy, because a lot of this stuff hasn't been thought about before, so I can kind of just invent it as I'm going. And then it also solidifies things. So later, now when I go back and I write about Sanctuary, or I want to visit that planet for a story, I have a point of reference also for myself that's been fleshed out. Because I have this weird thing about, like, I need to have a reason to make a decision on it. And it's probably in part because I had a problem building the universe in the beginning. I was just afraid of doing it because I thought it would be too hard. so I just didn't. So now I'm trying to like make myself with some of these things, and it's all good. It's just I love the fact that people actually care enough now that they're asking questions. Plus, they kind of killed the Republic of the Sphere, and the Marian hegemony split up, so I don't kind of need a new space realm. Yeah, I love the Republic of the Sphere, and I haven't read any of the new novels because I hadn't read any of the other ones leading up to the Ilcon event. Ilclan? Yeah, Ilcon. What I've heard is kind of lame. The fact that the wolves won is kind of like, oh, okay, so like the good of the bad guys won. Okay. Like, I felt like, how cool, from an outsider, not reading the books, not seeing the build-up, if like Ghost Bears would have won, or if Jade Falcon would have won, where you're like, these guys are bad guys, or, you know, I like Jade Falcon, but Malvina Hazen is a freaking nut. But it would have been different in the sense that like the bad guys won, and then that obviously would create more war and conflict in the future books. So it's like, okay, the bad guys won, but we know it won't be the end of Battletech. Not that Battletech will ever end, but you know what I mean? Like, we know, okay, it's kind of like if the Word of Blake won. Like, all right, they've won for now. Obviously, someone's going to have to rise up and deal with this. But letting the Wolves win was just so... Was it done well, at least? Because it feels kind of cliche. Like, I ask about WarMech production just because as an engineer, the story of how something so complex is designed and built and who the people did it interests me. Well, I could share a secret fear that I have that that helps me when I'm building things. And I appreciate the questions. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not a very engineer-minded person, but I try my best with some of this to kind of think about, okay, like what would be... We're trying to make the WarMechs fairly realistic. You know, the way that they pilot them, they use an AI to kind of augment to make things function a little bit better. But it's still kind of thinking in terms of, you know, we're not going to have cockpit glass. We're not going to, where a sniper can take out your WarMech. We're going to put the pilots in where they're safe and where they can pilot and just do their job without having to worry about some random guy with a rocket or a handgun just shooting them just right and taking them out. But at the same time, too, I'm kind of picking some of the stuff, and I don't want to say like I'm just making it up, but some of it I feel like I am. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of research to how some other universes have solved certain problems, but I guess I'm concerned that I'll end up giving a response to something and someone's going to be like, who's more educated such as yourself, and be like, well, that doesn't make any freaking sense. Like, why in the world would they do that? Not that I think you'd ever like call it out or something like that blatantly, but just like that's always been a concern of mine, is that at some point someone's going to look at something that I've done and they're going to say, Rick, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I'll be like, I didn't know what I didn't know. Because I've never been engineering minded. Like, that's just not how my brain functions. I'm really glad we have engineers, because I like, you know, using bridges and stuff. Obviously, that's much more complex than just that, but I'm more of a concepts person. Like, I break things down to the conceptual side and try to make it easier to explain to other people. I wanted Ghost Bear to win, but the Falcons couldn't win because if that happened, everybody would band together to wipe them out. I guess that's true. Hour of the Wolf suffers because there's no twist. It just does what's expected. Yeah. And I really doubt that it was ever set out to be like, okay, we're going to do this thing, and then years and years and years and years and years and years from now, Clan Wolf's going to win. So let's set them up. Like, they've always been like they've had their bad guys and stuff, and I'm not necessarily a wizard when it comes to Clan Wolf lore. I know enough to get by, but they've always been like the good guys of the clans for sure. I mean, yeah, you had Novacat and Ghost Bear and stuff, but I mean, like by and large, like was it Clan Wolf who sent the Wolf Dragoons in to kind of survey the inner sphere to see like, hey, how are they doing? And then they were the ones that were helping to lead the way in a part, from what I remember, to resist the clans when they invaded. So it's like they've always been kind of this pseudo secret society thing, but it's, I don't know. Maybe it's not cliche that they won. I don't know. It doesn't feel like BattleTech. It feels more like a Star Wars win. Oh, I'm not going to complain about Snobby Robot's Rule of Cool. Well, yeah, I can appreciate that. I guess I just don't want to look like an ignorant idiot as much as I can help it. Like, I used to read, I know that some of the people who would write for BattleTech, I don't know if they were engineers or something, but they always wrote from a very at times, a very technical standpoint. And sometimes I thought that was to its detriment, where, like, I don't understand what they're saying. They're using all this jargon that I feel like a mechanically inclined person is very familiar with, or at least has a very decent understanding and can follow along, and I have zero idea what's happening. So I've tried to approach things in Revelations where, like, you can see there is complexity. Like, it's there. But I may not be the one that's the smartest person in the room to figure out how it necessarily functions. So I'm going to discuss the idea of it, how it functions, in the sense of, like, the application of it. Like, I don't need to explain how the joints work for the Hydra, but I can explain the way that its gait is, like when it walks, or how nimble it is. And that will allow someone who is more engineering-minded to say, oh, well, it's likely that it's using such and such a system. I know that this is more complex robotics than what we have currently, but I personally am one of the idealists that believe that one day we could have mechs. We have to first make them affordable enough, which I definitely think could be done. Well, I know some people disagree, and they're like, we'll never have mechs. I don't think we'll ever have Gundams. Like, that's just obnoxious. They're huge. They don't make any sense. Mechs in certain uses, and you'll notice in Revelations, mechs are not the king. They are a tool in the toolbox for the commanders, but they are not the king. The king, more or less, is the officers, is the leaders, as it should be. The catch is that Wolf took 60% losses. They pissed off Wolf Dragoons, and the Capellans are about to invade Terra. The Capellans? How in the world would they possibly be able to hold that? This is my plasma belcher. It belches plasma. I mean, that is what it does. Doesn't sound like that, but I didn't know. I wanted, when I came to the plasma weapons, I know you're just messing with me, but when I came to the plasma weapons, I'm like, I don't really want to give them like these really big fancy names. I want it to be something like plasma slinger, plasma belcher, plasma cannon. It's simple, but it just explains it, And then we can go from there and be like, oh, okay, it's whatever, XYZ, but I just felt like that was a little bit more fun and different, and now the Union's been better designed and they're very intelligent, so now I don't know if the plasma belcher idea seems a little too simplistic, but maybe it works. The Capellans winning is or not winning, but the Capellans trying to invade Terra just seems so them. And there they are, doing their thing. Well, while this dries, I don't really got much else I can do. I could work a little bit on those Orions, but I think I've probably been sitting at this computer too long, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. So thank you to everybody who's watched this far, or who's been here this long. Chris, thank you. Roger, if you're still there. I'll talk to you guys later. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. I'm God willing, we're going to be able to get to this heavy metal event next week. So next Monday is going to be awesome. I'll get a wash on these Orions, and then I'll assemble the other 3 mechs I need and get those started. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. Talk to you guys later. See ya. Have a good night.